One of the perks of working with small sculpture is that I can change the point of view quite easily. So now I've been working on trying to get the profile lines from this point of view curvaceous and indifferent are my main two goals. Let me move the marble here. So I'm starting to like this. It's interesting because if it's really a good composition, then theoretically it should look good whether it's a vertical or horizontal. I'm kind of liking this. Of course it's going to be heavier there, but for a vertical that would be nice. But I'm wondering if I can have the courage this time to really push the limits on how thin I can make this stone. Because it seems to carve a little bit like Colorado Yule, meaning that at times it feels a little bit sugary. And also there's, you see that where I don't have the structure there. So I'm going to put this up in just a second to get another point of view look at it and decide what I want to do. But right now I'm just trying to develop the curve of that swan's neck. I don't want it to be a perfect circle, but I want it to be an interesting shape and a graceful one that matches the wings. Thanks for watching. Kelly Borsheim, BorsheimartS.com. Please leave your comments and suggestions and questions and all that good stuff. Thanks. I really do enjoy the bird's eye view. So here I am with my swan sculpture. This is Kelly Borsheim. And, whoops, sorry about the finger in front of my phone. Sadly, my camera has bit the dust, so I needed to get a new one, but it's going to have to wait for a bit. Anyway, so I redrew my center line because I have a tendency to not be symmetrical, and I needed to go a little bit left. And but now I can clearly see that this needs to be rounded off this way. I can pull this back a little bit, get more curve in here for this wing. Granted, the space is different on this side, and I wanted the curve to be different as well, but I want to get as much depth as I can into the piece. And also these breast muscles here, I want them to be as round as I possibly can, leaving the weight for the piece to be sturdy. The piece is sturdy on this side, but, and obviously right now it's not, you know, it's not wanting to tip over, but I have this area here that I'm conscious of. Do you see how the foot in the back over there, that's supporting the weight a lot, but this, so if I take weight off of this side, I'm actually happy because it kind of goes in my favor then, you know, to have the heavier side over where it's supported better. But here I can see that I've got some curves going on here, see, but I can dig back some of this in here, so that's what I'm looking at. This is going to be the tail, which I haven't quite figured out because sometimes I want the chest to go down this way to the body and other times, but you know, mostly I want the eye to go back in. Do you see the figure 8 that's here? Figure 8, and then you come up this way and then you loop down with the neck and you come back. I don't know if that makes any sense. And then you have this, you know, weird phallic wing symbol coming up. No, I'm just kidding on that, sort of, not really. Anyway, I can see that I don't like the curve here. It's too rectangular right here, so I want to pull that back into the body a little bit more. I want some space underneath his head for that with the wing, so that's another consideration. And here I can see that the line for the wing is not pretty because this part comes out a little bit more. So these are all nice points of view to check out. What do you think? Leave your comments and suggestions and your questions and all that good stuff. Kelly Borsheim at BorsheimartS.com. Thank you for watching the progress. Beautiful day in Valeriana. Okay, ignore the bad lighting, please, but here's a rock, and I want to show you something. Listen. Do you hear when the voice gets low? Do you hear that? That's probably dead stone that I need to get rid of. I noticed it when I was cutting here, the profile here. That stuff was just sort of washing away like this, and so I decided to do the rock test. Got some carving to do. Good morning, this is Kelly Borsheim, and I'm going to continue with some swan anatomy today. Alright, so I've been working on this piece. It's a thin piece of Portugal marble. Maybe my shadow's better for the lighting here. And I'm working now on developing, this is the breastbone here, and this goes into the neck. Okay, the neck, you know, of a swan is very long and curvaceous and sculptural and all that good stuff. But even though I'm making an abstract piece, I want to make sure that it's sort of based in reality in the sense of proportion, because nature has a proportion, the anatomy has a reason, and a design, I should say. Alright, so the breastbone is here, and it connects to the neck, and even with our own bodies, that it's not really like, well, let's just make a neck and connect it to this, you know. The one piece blends into the other. You always have these sort of, the muscles overlap, like when you look at the hills in the distance kind of thing. So what happens is the neck here doesn't need to be very thick to support the head. It needs to have a certain thickness to support the head, but it's not super thick. But of course, as it comes closer to connecting to the body, which the body has, of course, the rib cage and the heart and all the internal organs that you need and everything, so that the body, the chest especially of the bird, is probably, you know, is substantial. Let's just leave it that way. So the neck is not a skinny tube that goes boom and then it connects. There's a transitional stage, because also this area has a lot of muscle in it to help the movement of such a thing. You can imagine with it being really long like that, you've got to have some pretty strong muscles to make that work for you. So I redrew my center line because I'm always off on that, and what I mean by that is I'm measuring from here to here. Okay, I use this. Now the thing you have to be careful at is when you do your measurement stuff and you're looking down, you've got to make sure that you're being fairly consistent on the measuring, otherwise you're going to be looking at this thinking, oh, I'm look at how it looks like I'm at the end there measuring, but then you come here and it's great. Well, you know, but silly for me to say that stuff too, because I can tell you and then I don't do it myself. Oh, I have a scratchy throat today. So anyway, I'm redrawing the center line. In the head here, you can see in a green, I did switch to crayon, which is a wax-based thing, instead of my kid street chalk, which is just colored gesso powder, because the powder goes away, and I like it for temporary things, but when I'm really trying to draw and keep something there, I want to use the wax-based right now. So the muscles of the neck are wider here as they go into the breastbone, and there's these little transitions that are happening. But right now what I'm trying to do is determine the thickness of the neck, the diameter of the neck. No, yeah, the diameter. Alright, so here's my center line. Here's my head, although I haven't decided if the head is too large or not. I mean, it's kind of an important part of the feature, and I'd like to feature it, and so I don't have it in proportion with the wings and all that stuff, but like I said, I'm making, to do the famous misquote, I'm making a sculpture, I'm not making a swan. Alright, so I'm not doing direct copy anymore, and frankly, kind of glad of that. It was kind of boring to do that at art school. It was a way to teach your eye to make the mark you intend to make, and have the teacher understand that you intended to make it, because you can see what exists compared to what you're trying to do. But after that, it's kind of nice to expand and make a design. Alright, so that's a different topic always. As the neck starts to go from the muscles of transition and strength into here, I'm trying to guesstimate. See, I've wanted his mouth, his beak, to tuck underneath the wing, but also tuck into this one side of this thing. So I've been shaping the neck to go down, because again, I've said before, the hardest thing to do is to have two things join up, and not have one overextended the other, or too much distance end up by the time you finish the sculpture. So with the head here, if I make it smaller, and I still want this connection with the beak, I have to pull the head forward. So I've been trying to just limit how much I'm cutting off right here until I'm absolutely sure where the head's going to be. Keeping it a taper, because if I go forward, I'm also going to be going smaller. So this taper that I have here is not too exaggerated, I think. Anyway, it's getting back to this neck. I don't know, is it better to see in the sun? I started off with a horizontal video, but now... Okay, so I've got the neck is measured. I'm guesstimating it's going to be about here where the neck starts. So I come over to the top of the head, and you can see where I've marked my lines here. Now, I've got my center line to give my curve. I really wanted something more curvaceous in movement, but the thing is, your head comes here, it doesn't automatically start a curve. So I let it go a little bit straight, and then start a nice little graceful curve here, okay? And so when I'm making the thickness of the neck, I'm centering it along this center line curve here and trying to make the mark from a specific point of view. This line obviously is from directly on top of this. Well, right now I have the marble sideways, so of course it's on top. And I will cut this way. Then I wanted to show you, I guess I started this vertical, so it should stay vertical, but... Okay, so now I have the thickness of the neck determined, and this is a maximum because, again, it could be that that is too fat of a neck, even still, and of course you have stone expansion happening a lot, but I'm going to put this slender down here to start developing that and to decide at some point how large I want the head. The head is way too large compared to all the rest of it, but like I said before, that's intentional. Alright, so I have the thickness of the neck here, and the neck of the swan is fairly circular, meaning that that diameter is also going to be similar to this diameter. You see? So what I'm trying to do at this point is decide, because part of me deciding how large I want that head is because I want a hole to be here, to look through it, but also the point of this particular marble is its translucent beauty, and I want to show that off. So the way to show that off is to have thick parts and thin parts so you can really see the quality of the stone. Alright, so once I decide that my neck is there, I can start drawing the head and say, is that going to work for me? And how do I develop this? Because see, I'm trying to get down here for the line of the wing, and I see that if I come really from this point of view, it's going uphill. So that's good news, because that means that this hole can be a little bit larger and not damage the design of the wing. And frankly, I'm not really sure of the design of the wing because it's not following anatomy at all, and I haven't decided if I like the flow lines of it being thin and then getting thick here, but we'll see. I kind of like it and I kind of don't. Also, it's kind of funny, but I had the thought the other day, this reminds me of a helicopter. You know the maple tree plant that has the little helicopter seeds? So this would be the seedling, and this is the thing that helps it get distant from the tree when it falls, does its little whirligig. Oh, hello, bee. Wow, what a surprise. You like the green color, huh? Alright, I'm trying to design what I want to do with this piece, and touching it, I like this flow here, and I want to get rid of this stuff here. It just felt like, I don't know, I didn't enjoy the out coming in and then coming out, and then I kind of want to put a little bit more curvy in here. So that's what I'm working on there. I'm working on getting this tail done, and then I wanted to take a look at the color, because look at this, isn't that gorgeous? This is Portuguese rose marble. So I took a little bottle of spray water because I'm too tired to spit on everything as I usually do. Asked Don Elliott. He said, she's such a lady. But look at the color coming through. So what I want to do is the rock is not a very colorful, busy pattern. But what I want to do is to show off what's really there. You see the veinings that are in there? And this is the hole I'm thinking about putting in to separate the wings, because I want more light. The thing is, I don't think I have enough stone to go the hole in front and in back, because originally I was going to have the wings separate at this point, and then I decided no, but I want to show off this color here. Look how translucent that is. Isn't that gorgeous? But I'm not sure how much strength this stone has, because it's just been, I don't know, it's sort of, I don't know, it kind of goes away, but maybe I'm just used to Carrara now and the harder Canadian marbles that I've carved before. But I still think that if I can refine this shape and continue to get it where it touches and it feels good to me, then I can still come into the back here and open it up to show off this color. Because this color will really be amazing if I can open it up. And the thing is, I don't necessarily have to connect it with the hole there. It would be really cool if I could, but I think that'll develop as it goes along. But you see what I mean, is I could easily slant it there. But so these are some of the considerations, but right now I am at the point where I want to touch it. I did come in and, after my video about the center line point, I did come in and shave off this stuff to get this slender. And then I went to look at my reference photos of swans, and I think I want to leave the head large. It's such a distinguishing point, and also if for some reason I lose the rest, I don't know, I just think the head is important. But we'll see. Anyway, I want to start working on this some more. I'm still aware of the height, the difference of the weight. Do you see how I put a wedge of granite? I always use little cuts of stones for other things. It's propped up there now for safety while I look at it. I don't want it to fall or something while I'm just standing back to see what the piece is going to manifest as. But I'm not stuck to having it make it stand on its own. I can put a base on it, and I can even tilt this thing forward. There are a lot of choices that I can do. And maybe pushing the neck back would be an interesting one, actually, now that I look at this profile. It's sort of cloud-like, isn't it? But you see, I need the weight to come forward a little bit here, maybe, but maybe I don't, actually. But I want in fact, maybe I don't want the head and the chest to be at the same height, but I want that hole in there. Now I'm going to have to sit there and look at it, because I thought the head was coming out a little bit beyond the stone the way I was doing it. It could be a matter of rotating the stone, then you lose that feeling that I cut out of a block. Because one of my main things that I've learned I don't like is, I don't like it when you see a sculpture and your brain automatically fills in what it was before. And so it could, but see, if I had more out here, that would be amazing, because I could get more of a change and more of a diagonal going back to let the swan neck come through like this. Do you see how I'm intending? But it's not there, so I want to try to make up for that. My main question is, look at how transparent that's getting in this light. I mean, it's not super duper, but it's cool. This has to touch with the breastbone, but it doesn't necessarily, I don't know. That may be developed, but I also think that's a small point I can develop near the end. So the important part is to get the head where it's actually going to fit with everything, put the hole in there where it's actually going to work. I do like the line of this wing on this side. The other side, there's a problem with the stone there, that there's one cut, but there's also the natural fill that I did that I don't really like. Anyway, I'm talking too much, but I need to be thinking. Ciao for now. Leave your comments, suggestions, questions, whatever. Thank you. Appreciate your watching. Ciao, ciao. So I've made my decisions, and I started the cut here, and now everything's ready. I think tomorrow I'll be starting on the head and get the swan developed here. But now I realize it's looking a little bit naughty, but plant-like also. Anyway, nature repeats the form she enjoys. But my light is going fast, so I'm going to go start painting now. Ciao, ciao. Kelly Borsheim, BorsheimartS.com. Leave your comments, suggestions, questions, and subscribe to my newsletter at BorsheimartS.com. Thank you. Okay, this morning I'm going to start working on the head of the swan. Hey, Yoda. And the thing I'd already forgotten, actually, was that I was intending to twist the head a little bit this way to not have everything be so symmetrical to the original block shape. So in trying to turn the head, you'll see that I've lowered this side. That's why you don't see as much here. And what that means is, you see this clump here, it's coming out at me and it shouldn't be. So if I come here to the shade, what I want to do is I'm going to cut, this is the widest part of the head here. The head's going to be wide at the back like ours and taper to the front. So I'm going to get rid of all this material here and then start my drawing. Also on this side, do the same thing, same concept. And that way I remember to do it at this angle here from this point of view. Get rid of all this, okay? So then I'm going to get cutting.